Hey guys, it's Chris Anderson here. I want to tell you guys a little story about the time I got banned for life from the Peebles department store. Okay. So I've shared this at conferences when I've spoken at conferences because it kind of shows what's possible and the somewhat trouble you can get into with doing FBA. So I will tell you, I'll Tarantino this. I don't really get in trouble for it. In fact, I end up making some really good money off of this. But I did get banned for life from the People's Department Store. As far as I know, I still am banned for life. There's been no update. Also, was banned for life from selling on Etsy for a while, and then they unbanned me for life. So I don't know. Maybe I'll get unbanned from People's. But for right now, apparently it's trespassing if I go into a People's Department Store. If you're not familiar with the People's Department Store, it's a small department store chain. They're a little bit lower priced than like a Macy's or a Kohl's. They run similar sales, kind of like how Kohl's is, where everything's expensive, and then they run sales and it gets cheap or at least moderately priced. Typical Peebles, they're kind of an East Coast thing. There's a bunch of them in central Pennsylvania. And if you've never been to one, they're roughly the size of like a TJ Maxx. I would say they're about 2/3 clothes, and then the rest is like a mixture of like 20% shoes, and then the rest is like kitchen products and a really disappointing toy section. Okay, I don't even think they sell video games. Okay, and also they have a pretty good baby section. The baby section's pretty good. So in my early days, and if you guys don't know this about me, I always kind of say that I kind of love gambling. I love playing blackjack. The thing I love about playing blackjack is that when you go in a casino and you play blackjack and you win, that casino has spent billions of dollars so that you lose. And then you go in and just your mind, you win. Okay. Well, I love that about retail arbitrage selling, where you figure out all the discounts with like Kohl's that they're doing that day, and you go in and you can buy profitable items. And I kind of feel like I'm cheating, okay? And maybe that's the wrong attitude to have, but that's kind of the attitude I have, and I very much enjoy the thrill and the thrill of that hunt. So that brings me to how I am banned for life from Peebles. So I start casually shopping at Peebles for FBA. And I'm going in, and Peebles has like a really great selection of baby clothes, okay? Brands like Carter's. They really do have a great brand selection, okay? They got Carter's, they got Nike, Reebok, Adidas, Birkenstock, all the major brands that you would want to see. So I'm going in and I'm buying a bunch of baby clothes, okay? And eventually the manager says to me like, hey, you shop here a lot. Do you want a People's credit card? So I get a People's credit card. I don't usually get store credit cards, but I got this one. And, I fill it out. I get 5% cash back. At the time, you got 5% cash back, but you had to spend it in store. So it's kind of like, yes, 2 rewards, pretty nice. And I'm literally just got it for the 5% cash back. It'd be a few $100 a month. So I get that, and I'm doing my shopping, and she gives me a thing of all the perks of the credit card. So I'm looking at this, and it says, well, sales start a day early for you and go a day longer. And I'm like, oh, that's a really good deal. Like, because could you stack sales together? The manager says, oh, yeah, that's the point. I was like, oh, great. So I start investigating their sales that they do, and they do 2 major sales. They do buy one, get one free, everything in the store. But there's a million exclusions to this. So does not apply to Carter's, does not apply to Nike. Basically, the only thing it applies to is the items that are their private label brands. So like, I think one of their brands is called Sun River. And then they have like a couple shoe brands and stuff. So really bottom of the barrel stuff. And then some national brands like Sporto and I think maybe Reebok or something. Those are included in that. But for the most part, the brands that I want, they're not included. So it's a little disappointing. But then, so that's buy one, get one free on everything in the store. But then they also do 50% off clearance items. So the 50% off clearance items is a little bit less restrictive. And, you can use that on the Nikes and the Carters and stuff like that. So I trot in a few weeks later. They're having both sales. And I actually didn't realize that they were having both sales. I was only going there for the 50% off clearance sale. And I go in, I fill my cart up with a bunch of baby clothes and some shoes and stuff like that. I go to check out and I give them my credit card, and they actually applied both sales at once. So I'm talking to the manager about this. I was only expecting to get everything 50% off, not 75% off. And it turns out that the way that Peebles does their pricing is they take items like Nike that won't work for that buy one get one free sale, and they end those in 98 cents. So $49.98. Okay, pretty basic. Whereas everything else is $49.99. Okay, it ends in a 99. And the items that end in 99, those do work for the sale. The items that end in 98 do not work for the sale. Well, then there's a glitch, because if you take 10% off of $49.98, it doesn't end in 98 anymore. I don't know what it ends in, and I could probably do the math. Actually, I know I could do the math, but it doesn't end in 98. That's all I know. So I go to check out, and I'm talking to the manager, and she's like, well, yeah, it's just kind of a quirk, so, we just let people do it. And I'm like, oh, so I can just buy whatever? And she's like, oh, yeah, just go buy whatever. So I fill up my cart a few times, now buying some more profitable, some items that weren't profitable until they were 75% off. So I ended up spending a few $1,000s, which doesn't sound like a lot, except everything was 75% off. So if you have an $80 pair of Nikes that's selling on Amazon for $80, well, I'm buying them for 20. Okay, if there's like a 5% off clearance, which there was a ton. Just so happened when I went, they had clearanced a whole bunch of stuff from Nike because it was like the switch of a season. So I'm like, oh, okay. So this is pretty awesome. Okay, I just figured out how to get everything at Peebles for 75% off. Awesome. So I go the next time they have a sale, a couple weeks later, I decide, now at this point I didn't have a cargo van yet. I was still driving around in my Volkswagen Passat station wagon and sourcing everything there. So I drive up to another Peebles, same thing. Okay, hundreds of pairs of shoes. Now, by the way, here's why this works, and something I found out. They were using a super old register system. Their old register system was literally from the 80s. You go to Kohl's or Target now, and it's a real nice system. They're actually still using like a black screen with green writing, like Commodore 64 level. In fact, it was MS-DOS level. That's their whole system. It's like super basic. So I also found out that if you check out more than 100 items, so as soon as you go to 100 items on your receipt, it restarts all the computers in the store. Just a fun thing that I found out. I don't know if that's still true, but at the time it was. So I go through, I get all of my Nikes, I fill up carts and carts and carts of stuff, and I go to check out, and it works. And I'm like, huh, this is really crazy. Use my Peebles credit card, pay for it, and leave. And one of the things that people don't realize is that they think, oh, well, if a store's not reseller friendly, the management hates you. Management didn't care. I was buying old crappy inventory. A lot of this stuff that I was buying, it was like 75% off when I bought it, and then I got 75% off that. And this place is kind of expensive, so it would be like a baby onesie pack where it's like 5 onesies or whatever. It would be $40. It would be down to $10 because it's 75% off. I'm paying $2.50 for it and flipping it on Amazon for $20. Pretty good. So here's where I flew a little close to the sun. As the ancient Greeks would call it, I got a little hubris, okay? So I get my catalog from them, and I see that there's going to be a 75% off sale coming up in the next couple weeks. My old employee and I, we run a U-Haul, and we figure out a plot of driving that we're going to hit 8 Peebles in one day. So we do. And we filled the cargo van, or the U-Haul, like the little box truck, to the brim with Birkenstocks, Nikes, Reeboks, Adidas's, Carters, thousands of items. Okay, we drove all over. We left Altoona. We drove southwest. We went and we hit up all of these. We went under Pittsburgh. We went out. I think we ended up in Ohio, okay, buying all this stuff. So thousands of items, okay. Get back, get all prepped, get all sent to Amazon. Great. So then we do it again. Okay, pretty much the exact same thing. This time, I think we went up like Northeast, works again. So get everything sent out. So then one day, I have my own business, I get a phone call. So it turns out it is corporate loss prevention from Peebles, and they want to talk to me. So it turns out that they knew of this. They called it an exploit. I don't consider it an exploit. I consider that if I walk up to a register and something rings out at a certain price, that's the price it is. Okay, that's my thought. So if your register doesn't work that way, it's not my fault. It's your fault. So they considered what I did an exploit, and they, in talking to me, they thought that I was working with managers, with Peebles managers, to defraud the company. I will clarify, I had no help from employees. I just figured this out on my own. So what they ended up doing at this point, I had a pretty good balance on my Peebles credit card. I think it was like $800. So they informed me that they no longer ever wanted to do business with me, and I was banned from all Peebles, and they had closed my credit card account. So of course I'm like, well, how do I pay my credit card now? They're like, we don't know how to do that. So to this day, I've never paid my Peebles credit card. It was $800 or so. They have never reported it as delinquent on my credit score. I've checked because it definitely should be delinquent by now, and it's not. And I am banned for life from the store. So I did go down to a local Peebles and talk to the manager, and I actually have a photo up in local Peebles because corporate tracked where I was using my credit card. They created a profile of me, and they treat me pretty much like a shoplifter. So that is the time I got banned for life from Peebles. I guess the time. I am still currently banned for life from Peebles. So get out there and shop from Peebles, okay? I actually placed an order over the over Q4. I did try my luck at buying something from them from their website and actually having it shipped to my mom, and they caught me, okay, and canceled the order. So Peebles clearly does not want to do business with me anymore, and that's perfectly fine. That's well within their right, I guess. But yeah, so I am banned for life from Peebles. And that is how you do retail arbitrage, and that is how you corporate or coupon stack. So anyway, guys, I hope you learned something. I will tell you the reason I talk about these sales is this no longer works. I have verified with people. The sales do still happen. They have changed around the way the credit card works, and I would like to take some credit for that. I would like to claim that a multinational publicly traded company had to change their corporate policies because of me. And that feels good, you know, feels real good. I'd like to dedicate that to every teacher that ever said I apply my creativity inappropriately. Well, good night, and I hope you learned something. Have a great night.